This is David Russell, Global Head of Market Strategy for TradeStation. And today we'll look at major events for investors and traders. Stocks are rebounding as key earnings beat estimates and investors get comfortable with fewer rate cuts. The S&P 500 rose 2.7% between Friday, April 19th and Friday, April 26th. The Nasdaq 100 jumped 4%. Those were the biggest weekly gains for both indexes since the market started rallying in early November. Every major sector advanced, led by technology, while strong results from Microsoft and Alphabet helped cap the move on Friday. No single event caused the bounce. Gross domestic product increased much less than forecast, and inflation measures remained elevated. However, bond yields stopped rising, and interest rate futures were little changed. That may suggest investors are priced in more hawkish news from the Federal Reserve at its key meeting on Wednesday. Microsoft said AI demand added about 1/4 of the growth at its Azure cloud computing division. Chief Executive Satya Nadella also noted 35% sequential increase in users of its GitHub Copilot developer tool. Alphabet surged to a new all-time high after YouTube advertising rebounded and the company started paying a dividend. Profitability at the company's cloud business also spiked from 2.5% to 9.4% as new products came online that helped lift other companies associated with AI, like NVIDIA and Supermicro Computer. Both fell sharply the previous week. The two best-performing groups last week were Chinese technology and semiconductors. There was no single catalyst for China, but the rebound came after Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen suggested the United States won't impose further restrictions on Beijing. The country's securities regulator also said on April 19th it wanted to ease trading rules. In addition, Goldman Sachs turned more positive on the country on April 15th, and UBS followed with an upgrade last Tuesday. Could those headlines mark a turn following a major slide in 2021 and 2022? Home builders, one of the top-performing groups in the last 6 months, also rebounded. Precious metals were the main laggards. Medical device maker ResMed rallied the most in the S&P 500 after beating estimates for the second straight quarter. Semiconductor equipment company Teradyne also jumped on strong results. Hasbro rose the most since 2020 after cutting inventories to boost profit margins. Tesla had its best week in over a year, up 14%, while the EV makers' results missed estimates. Chief Executive Elon Musk cited progress toward making cheaper models without having to retool production lines. And now let's chart the market. Last week's bounce in the S&P 500 followed some potentially important signals. First, it retraced slightly more than half its rally in the first 3 months of the year. Second, the Relative Strength Index, or RSI, rebounded from its lowest reading since early November. The index also held prices from February 20th and 21st, immediately before NVIDIA's last earnings report triggered a bullish gap higher. Those patterns could make chart watchers think stocks have completed a needed pullback without breaking their uptrend. At least two other key charts had potentially meaningful signals. The Nasdaq 100 bounced after touching just 3 points above its peak all of last year. Has old resistance become new support? The yield on the 10-year Treasury note also paused near its levels from early November. Remaining at or below these levels could suggest rates are finally starting to peak, which would probably be positive for risk appetite. Remember, stocks fell between August and October as yields hit multi-year highs. We'll now consider the coming week, which is busy with a Fed meeting, major earnings, and the key monthly employment report. Given the importance of bond yields, investors may watch the Treasury Department's announcement of debt issuance at 3 o'clock Eastern Time today. Tomorrow morning brings estimates of labor costs in the first quarter, which could impact views on inflation. McDonald's, 3M, and PayPal report earnings in the pre-market. Amazon.com, Advanced Micro Devices, and Supermicro issue results after the closing bell. The Fed's announcement is at 2 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. Chair Jerome Powell will give a press conference about 30 minutes later. The Institute for Supply Management's Manufacturing Index and crude oil inventories were due earlier in the day. Qualcomm, Pfizer, and eBay are some of the noteworthy earnings. Initial jobless claims are on Thursday morning, and Apple reports in the afternoon. Non-farm payrolls on Friday morning will be another big catalyst. Investors are likely to focus on the unemployment rate and wages, given their potential impact on interest rates. Thanks for watching. Please visit tradestation.com for more.